care of their children and so on.
The other things in there, the
So
health insurance.
nothing
budget.
comes out of their check if they're
If
for
they're
employees?
single,
Yeah,
no, if they're single,
Single,
we pay
yeah.
everything. But if there's two-person or a family, it's like, we pay 80 and they pay 20. And
So-
also, we've got the health insurance buyout, which saves us money. If you don't take our health insurance, you get an amount, I don't remember what it is.
It's not a large amount
No.
compared to what
Correct.
you pay out.
Correct.
It's like a quarter of it.
yeah,
Yeah, at the town.
but it's a.
But
it's
the
a-
town
town
wants to
definitely
save money.
benefits from
Right,
it, yes.
exactly, benefits.
And if somebody's married to somebody who has a good plan, that's works for
Yep.
them.
It would just be a little less of a variable for the town if that 80-20 split was different. As in the town doesn't, you come to work and decide to have 4 kids. The town isn't paying 80% of that. I mean, I think with my wife's employer, nonprofit, I think they pay maybe 20% of what the kids.
Wow.
And I just looked at this, the Gusto, the payroll service, the defaults in its system are set to employer pays 75% of individual health plan and 0% of additional.
Jeez.
I mean, you're just paying for more of it. I don't know what like an industry-wide, you compare it
It's an
to,
industry-wide one.
or a national average, I don't know.
I do not know.
Anyway, I just, every discussion that we have about it seems a little maddening, because it's like, well, if you hire an employee, they could cost this much, or they could cost
Right.
60% more than that, or 80% more, or
Yeah.
whatever.
It
so
seems to
but-
be quite a bit of, the decision.
Yeah, take a look at, well, just in terms of that line item for health insurance, look how much was budgeted in 2022 and how much we actually spent in 2022. That's the difference is $63,000. So, big difference. And the thing is, as far as I understand, the 506 is if everybody that's new takes a family plan. So if they only take a two-person or a single, that saves us some money.
Now, that includes the library position
It's my understanding, yes.
and all the changes that the police department made, because he dropped a position, right?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Because there's no way we could really go back.
Well, there's a spreadsheet he sent out, so we can
Yeah.
take a look at that. So I'll put a question mark next to that. But we used to carry an extra position for,
Yeah,
and we
Julie
don't do
used to
that
throw an
anymore.
extra person in.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely something to put a question mark next to, as to it,
Yep.
because we were.
Yep.
I mean, one way that we could save money is by not making that library position a full-time position and having the health benefits associated with that.
yeah, you could do that.
I mean, that's an added employment expense in a year when we're looking at a 20%
Yep.
increase in the town budget, so,
Definitely.
sorry, that might,
And her retirement would be in the group 1 retirement as
Yeah.
well, because she's,
And
Yeah.
remember, the initial thing I said is, remember, there's no ancillary expenses in the library. That's why the library is so low. He's gonna calculate what that is. So these particular line items are gonna be reduced by whatever those library expenses are. Those will be
Move them
moved to the
over.
library. Because
Yeah.
if you
it's a
look,
geography issue, it's not.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
won't change the bottom line, but if you look in like line 21 library, it's down $46,000.
Yeah, that's
So,
the quarterly thing.
Right.
so there's no ancillary expenses in there. So he's gonna calculate those. I asked him that today, so.
Mhm.
All right, other than that question mark on the health insurance, are we okay with everything else?
Yeah, not much we can do with it.
Okay. Planning and zoning?
Not much there.
I mean, she's only up a little bit, but,
But she's looking at staying with Stratford County Regional
Yep.
Planning. Okay.
which went up just a little bit, but,
And have we
Anything?
gotten some services? There was talk that there was something that was gonna be done, but it wasn't gonna be done by them, and
They-
Scanning,
they look at
digitizing.
other stuff, for the services they do, I think, the Conservation Commission has done this. there's some mapping things that
Right.
Stratford County could do, but they found somebody else to do it cheaper, so they're having them do it.
Mhm. But there was a certain amount of services each year you were supposed to get for free too.
For belonging to it.
Yeah.
Right, there was a certain amount, and whether that's happening or if they're
I do
getting.
not know.
Does
far as
who
I know-
attends that meeting for
Katrina does.
Katrina's, okay,
They help us with other stuff that I think, it's not those services, it's like, planning for major projects and stuff.
right,
So if you're part of the group, you can use their services to do those things, like the,
with the grant writing stuff they
Yeah,
provide.
the-
It used to provide an awful lot of help there.
yeah, well, everybody's had to come back, but the sidewalk planning that's in
Right.
front of the Mastway, they help with that. There was no charge for that, that's part of their services, but,
Okay,
so we do get something, I don't know,
yeah,
so.
okay, just checking.
So anything in planning and zoning? No, okay, I'll move them all over. Government buildings?
Whose wages is that?
That is the two part-time building maintenance people. That's Kristen and Bill.
Now, was there some discussion that one of them was going to go full-time?
I think he's going into further, is he retiring sort of?
No,
And then
he's
she's
retired.
getting more,
He's
taking
retired.
over more time. I
At
think
some
there
point-
was something like that
At
when
some
they were
point,
changing.
Bill's gonna retire, but I haven't heard that he's going to retire at this particular time, so.
It seemed to me there was another
Who is
position
this?
that was changing from part-time to full-time, that must have been in a different department. Was that like the dump or
You don't have a dump.
the highway department? or the-
The transfer station.
Okay.
And there was someone.
There's somebody, okay.
Somebody.
And I think they
Another
did.
person.
They
They
did.
Yes.
They already are.
So,
Is that, well, we'll
So
get to
that-
that.
well, we can do it now. The particular person was a part-time person. We had some help, I have to be careful. We have some help on the wall. That particular person didn't work out.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So we needed help, and he was having a hard time finding help. So one of the part-time people expressed, oh, I would like to go full-time. So it's like, oh my goodness, that kind of worked out nicely. So we made that particular person full-time, so now he's full-time with benefits,
So is that in here?
as far as my understanding, yes.
Okay.
That was done a little while ago. So
Yeah.
he's an excellent worker, so Steve has what he
Yeah, he's good.
needs. He doesn't have to go, because he was having a hard time finding people. It's,
Mhm.
you know, we all know that. So it's not just Steve, it's everybody. So,
Everybody's having that.
so if we have a person that's part-time and says, heck, I want to work some more, don't shoot yourself in the foot and say, hey, no. So
Well, but you shoot yourself in the foot,
benefit-wise though, but, you know.
yeah, I mean, you
Versus-
could
Yeah, you have a
you could have
person-
gotten 40 hours worth of work for less amount of money if you had gotten two part-time people.
But if you can't find part-time people, what do?
You send the town a budget that they shoot down, and then you cut 5 people out of your employ. I mean, that's the thing I'm trying to
People know what
avoid, it's
you
not
do.
like, oh, I just, you know,
Right,
I understand it's a
doesn't
tough
work.
position, but, you know, I mean, if the goal is minimize the amount of work it takes to hire a new employee, just jack all the wages through the roof, everybody can hire somebody with ease. But if the goal is, you've got to balance countervailing forces, you know, the town's only willing to pay so much money for all this stuff too, so sometimes I worry that what we're trying to satisfy is people who are supervising people have a hard time hiring people, and we should not be that's a problem for them to solve. You go find somebody to fill the position. You can always make their job hiring someone easier by giving them more money. Great,
But then-
but that's not the only problem that the town is
But
trying to
they're
solve
not
for.
being able to get people, so.
Yeah, because-
Normally, you would be correct, I think, but not right now.
It's,
Okay.
it's
You
extremely
know what I
unusual.
mean? There's nobody, you're seeing it all across the board.
Yeah,
Fire, police, transfer station, I had a home care business that I ran for 18 years, you know, same thing.
yeah.
Like, nobody can't find any good
And-
people and be able to survive. That's why
If you look
I'm
at
not
the-
even doing it
you say,
anymore.
yeah.
And the other thing that we're seeing is there's bidding wars.
It's everywhere, yeah.
So-
So now they're
Oh, no, I
taking
mean, I
them.
sat through all the presentations and heard everybody
Yeah.
talk about it.
It's not very nice out there.
No, I know. I'm just
So-
looking at that 20% figure and saying like, yeah,
Mm.
and I've been to town meetings and I've seen how people react and I've seen how people will go on and on about it.
Yeah,
And I am thinking about the bad scenario of,
Right,
Well, the thing is,
if
they
you
don't,
present this, there will be a large number of people who say, no.
it's,
Inflation's up 8%, not up 20%.
the number they're gonna focus on is the one that's in line, what is it, 84? That's the 6.9, that's the number they're gonna focus on. They're not gonna focus on the individuals. They don't usually,
Do we present that even?
no.
Okay, we don't even tell them that.
You get to see it when your tax bill comes.
yeah.
But it's usually, they're looking at the bottom line usually.
Sorry,
Because
line
that's the bottom
84?
line increase.
Yeah, line 84, I think it's, yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh, 94, sorry. 94.
Yeah, these lines are also not in numerical order.
That
It's confusing.
percentage,
Oh, did I move something?
Uh,
Where did I miss?
yeah, it goes like 70, 83, 84, 71.
Okay,
Some
yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Sorry if
change
I'm
it.
confused.
It's all right.
okay, yeah.
But yeah, you were saying that the line that people are gonna be paying attention to
They're,
is
they're
the
gonna be paying attention, yeah, that's.
6.9% increase.
Because.
Because if they're not, their taxes, last year, there was the confusing thing where the
Yeah.
value went up and everybody was telling me, I can't afford, you know, I'm saying, well, but your tax rate will go down because it's, you know, the two, you know, affected by
So-
it. Everybody's values went up. But this year, you're
But
not
so a lot of
getting it.
people's actual taxes went up significantly,
Mhm.
and I was one of them.
Because
But,
if you're the average, that, what you just said is true.
right,
But some
Right.
people, their evaluation went up more than the tax rate went down.
Right,
That's the people that have the complaint.
right,
And it's perfectly true. So you can either look at it like, we've been undertaxing you all these years and you got a freebie.
all they look at is, my taxes just went up $2,000,
right.
you know, which is too much for most people.
So there's the other thing is I
And they
don't
don't
know
want
how
it.
much the selectmen make a decision about people that are not paying as much, so you gave a higher discount this last
The-
year.
The elderly. exempt.
Oh, the elderly, yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
So how much more is the rest of the
Oh.
town picking up? What,
Yeah, I
You
don't
know.
know that off the top of my head.
so that,
And
because I know you put up a bunch
That much.
there,
And-
so I didn't know how much that actually added up to, because that would cause the rate to go up.
So the average evaluation was over 53% in terms of the change. So that's what people went up. The elderly exemption, I only proposed increasing it only by 25%. So it only dealt with half of that. So some of the older people that weren't getting bills are getting littler, smaller bills.
Mhm.
But the whole idea, if you're elderly and you're on a fixed income, because there's certain criteria,
I
That
totally
was- yeah,
understand
that
how
was-
that works.
That was,
I'm just saying that how much was the total dollar
you're
wise
saying, how is
that
it gonna
got
affect?
added on to everybody
I
else?
do not know the answer to that
Okay.
question. We
They
can
gave
ask
us some
if you.
estimates last year. that-
Yeah.
I don't know.
He
if
was
that's-
flying around, but he didn't
I don't
really
think it
come up with
was significant.
But
Spread
Scott,
over.
you're saying that the total amount collected from people with that exemption went up because the evaluation pushed some of them out of the exempted amount. And then basically, it went up by 2 and you took it back by 1. There was
Yeah,
some equation
essentially.
like that where,
Yeah.
so they're on net paying more in.
The elderly, yes, that would be true. The elderly are paying more into taxes than they were before, that particular group.
Yeah.
Because I got yelled at because, well, not by anybody here, but I was talking to other town administrators and other people that have been town administrators. And I said, well, geez, these poor people, blah, blah, blah. And he says, well, we all know that. So you should have, if you're doing a real evaluation, you need to upgrade, increase those exemptions to compensate for, you know, that reevaluation. And it's like, they're like, yeah, that's a no-brainer, we know that. Why
Everybody-
did you know that? It's
Yeah.
like, so yes, that's why we were a year late. The year we did the reevaluation, we should have done the exemption at that particular time, but we didn't.
Okay.
So
So
that's
now we
more-
know for the future.
Andy knew how many people it was.
It's
and he
like
knew how many-
96.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
It was like what? was just,
It affected 96 people.
yeah, that's what I thought.
And most of the people that weren't getting tax bills, either they got smaller tax bills or they continued to get no tax bill. So it's those people that, there's no names, there's an old lady,
The gray area.
and she had got a tax bill from the town of Lee for over 10 years. And she got a tax bill, it was like almost $2,000. And she had a conversation with Selectman's office that said, you know, I can't afford this. I either have to pay my, you know, housing stuff, or I pay my food or my medicine. What am I gonna do? And what we told him, and he already knew this, file an abatement. So we did some of those particular people. So basically, when the tax exemption for the elderly went into effect, she didn't get a tax bill for that particular thing. So really, we said, okay, we screwed up, there's a tax abatement, so. But yeah, you hear those particular stories, and they can't afford that particular thing, so it's hard, so. All right, anything with government buildings?
Refresh my memory, where did the 74,880 come from?
74,880. That's all the maintenance and repairs. He is behind in terms of repairing buildings. There's a whole bunch of things that need to be done. He's still trying to catch up. We learned of another thing in this particular building on that particular side. The flashing was coming off around the windows, so Bill Stevens went to look at it, and the flashing is keeping the moisture in, so the sill is all rotted out.
Wonderful.
So that has to be looked at. So one, they have to change the flashing so that it's something that breathes, and then they have to replace all that rotted wood. So they're gonna investigate, they just found this out the other day, so they're gonna have to investigate other windows on that side and also on this side.
All that pretty, you know, plastic covers
Yellow.
that hides everything
Yeah, so
is awful stuff.
that's the latest thing, but also now that Steve's in charge and he dealt with all the major stuff, now he's going around and doing other maintenance checks, and he's finding all these little things that need to be done. So that's why this is up like more than 100%, so,
Maintenance?
yeah, M&R.
But that's making me feel good. I know it's a lot of money, but the
Yeah.
maintenance thing has been
Yeah.
a problem for a while.
Yep. All right, anything else?
Electricity and heat, we haven't budgeted. Is this a moving things around thing again?
For which?
No
the
electricity.
PSC?
Okay,
Yeah.
Electricity public safety complex is 20,500.
Where is-
Yeah, where it's-
28, and before that, we didn't have it,
Where are we? Oh,
in government buildings.
yeah, because it was in someplace else.
Okay, so that's, okay.
It was in, the one for this particular building was, half of it was in the fire department, half of it was in the police department.
Okay, and
So-
heat went up a lot. Is that a reflection of what it's gonna cost us this year?
Where are we at heat? Oh,
Continue
PSC? I believe that's the same thing. It came out of the fire and police and went into this budget in
Okay.
2023.
Yeah, it's
But I mean,
8,000 fire.
But from 16 to 26, yes, that is a reflection of the cost of fuel.
Okay.
What's the daily rent?
That
Oh,
is
that's that building, never
Yeah.
mind.
the building you have an office in.
Yeah.
So, and that's at 60,000, I think, one more year, and then it escalates a little bit. So,
Is the solar anywhere on the way?
yeah, yes.
Too bad it's not.
We signed, I didn't bring it with me. We signed a contract with the electrician. So two things are happening at the transfer station. One, solar arrays going in. Two, they're changing the service from
Two different.
200 amp to 400, I believe.
Oh, good.
So when they put in new, like a baler or something, they'll have the electricity that they need.
Mhm.
So they're combining those two things at the same time. So they'll put in what they need so that the solar array can hitch into this new thing. The problem is, some of the components they need are 54 weeks out.
And I was just gonna tell you that, because that's
Yeah.
what my electrician told me, because I'm putting in that apartment. So we are playing games with eliminating things that cost electricity so that I can do something out, so.
So the electrician is going to do what they can, with what they have
Right,
available to them.
they just don't have those
Yeah.
components to make that.
And it came in less than, we budgeted at 30,000, it came in at 23.5.
Now, where's that coming out of?
ARPA,
Oh, ARPA.
those are ARPA
Okay,
funds.
yeah.
So he's gonna do what he can with what he's gonna get his hands on.
Mhm.
And these pieces that he's missing, he's gonna try to
Find them,
find them someplace, but, so,
back alley,
I don't wanna know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Well, you're talking about missing pieces for what? The solar installation?
No, the
No, no, no.
electricity, electrical upgrade for the transfer station.
from a 220 to 4.
200 amp to 400 amp. I
Right,
think
that
that's-
component is
So,
15 months out, yeah.
They're combining them because to put in place what they need for the solar array is a certain amount of equipment. Then if they did it later, upgraded the service, then they have to buy other components for the solar array to link in. So now you're buying two things, and so they say,
Yeah.
let's combine them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
So,
What's the size of the array that's going in?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's big,
It's going on that whole
It's the
roof.
roof, right?
it's big, I don't know.
9,000 watts?
Not that, I don't know off the top of my
15,000
head.
watts? All right.
As big as possible.
Ask
Whole
Andy or
roof
ask,
of the-
Lou Grundon would know, but,
That might be like 30,000 or something, this might be a huge.
well, it's like
one.
Yeah.
200,000 in terms of so it's big.
Good.
It's gonna fit all on the top of the roof, so.
Yeah, I've been looking at panels and stuff as well, and the cost of them, and, yeah, I mean, that's a huge amount of, I noticed on the way in, we're coming back from the hospital with the baby, so we had to get a blood test and stuff. Driving past, in Newmarket, there's a place called like Seacoast Machine. The whole side of the building
Yeah,
is all solar,
yeah.
and I went, if they're like a machine shop, they probably use a
Ton-
boatload of electricity.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I wonder if some of that was, if they did some of it themselves, I wonder if they're storing it
I do not know.
or just selling it back, but yeah. Interesting, okay.
We
So we
also,
might see the electricity go down in the future.
and this
That would
is,
be good.
talking about electricity, one of the things we also initiated, we had a presentation, we already signed up for it. We had an updated presentation from the lady from Community Power. We are gonna move forward with a proposal to the PUC. There's like 4 or 5 towns ahead of us. Keene's like the number one. But they're gonna put a proposal in front of the PUC to allow the town to offer this community electricity thing.
Mhm.
So.
Have solar arrays.
No,
In the-
well,
in
it's-
the-
you know how you can, like from, if you have
oh,
Eversource
you
or
can
wherever,
buy into-
you can buy your power from a third party.
Yes.
What this does, this program does, they just approved it like last year. The town can take the initiative to say, okay, we're gonna do this particular program, and there'll be information sent out to people that live in town, and it's one of those opt-out programs. So unless you tell them you want to keep what you've got, or you already got a third party, they're not gonna touch you unless you say so. People in the town will be switched over to this new plan, which I'm told is a lot less than Eversource or New England Co-op.
So what if, for example, like I already have solar on my roof? And I have it through, it was Solar City, now it's Tesla,
But is that where you buy all your power?
So I still pay Eversource for the,
That's
Hooking up,
like
It would
the
change
service
the
and
delivery.
and all
This
that,
doesn't change delivery.
but that's like literally like $12
yeah,
a month that I pay to Eversource. And the rest,
and then they buy it at
I
a
have
lower
the
rate,
deal
you're
with them,
extra.
so I pay the solar company that's on my roof,
Yep,
you know, a much lesser rate.
so this would be, in your instance, this would be any additional power you have to purchase, I assume it's coming from the utility.
Right, so during the winter, if something happens, snowstorm, whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
so-
panels aren't up.
So if you look
so
at that
then it'll come
particular
from
rate,
Eversource.
Eversource is going to be like 22 cents or something like that. This particular plan, you have to look at it for yourself, you have to look in terms
Yeah.
of what those particular rates are, because You can get the base rate, which is like the cheapest, and then there's gonna be 2 or 3 other rates, and 2 of them are gonna be renewable energy. So sun, solar, whatever, they're gonna be more, but you have to look and see if those are cheaper than Eversource. Most
See if
likely
those
they're
are still cheaper, yeah.
So you're probably gonna use very little of it, but at least it's gonna be a cheaper number, so.
Okay,
But right now, if you want to switch providers, you have to actually do it.
Yes.
right.
In this case, everybody would be switched that doesn't opt out, so it's a new.
This is
con-
like a group purchase,
Right.
he was talking about that for telephones as well.
Yeah, well, this is for power. So they're looking at number, they have to go in front of the PUC and figure out what their number is gonna be, but she's saying, pretty sure that it's gonna be way less than Eversource. So people would save money on electricity. And the thing is,
Those of us
there's
in town who have co-op would do the same thing. just
Co-op
different
too.
rate.
co-op too,
Okay.
co-op too. And the thing is, you can opt out anytime you want. If you, because there, in terms of what they showed us, there's a grid they showed us. Of the 10 periods, only one of them, their particular rate was higher than the utilities. But the thing is, you can opt out and then opt back in later on if you want to. So-
That changes or whatever.
So that has nothing to do with our budget, but for everybody's budget, you can save some money on electricity.
Okay.
Government buildings, anything else in there that you want to talk about?
No?
Cemetery.
Okay.
My other question about cemetery is,
Oh, yep.
We have some fences.
yeah,
I did that.
did you include okay,
They are supposed to get back to us, as far as I remember, they're supposed to get back to us and to let us know approximately how much it's gonna be
Yeah,
and
Pete
when they
was
need
gonna
it.
do that. He was
Yes.
gonna get back.
now does it make sense?
So it's not in there.
It's not in there.
Because they haven't told us.
Where we need it.
Okay.
Is that something that we could do through an existing,
The one we had for the fence, for the cemetery from, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah,
That one's gone, we
but
closed it.
you can't lump that in with buildings or something, just to not have to send them.
No, it gets down to the purpose, what's the purpose of the
Yeah, I know,
fund?
there's nothing that's broad enough that we could
Something,
use.
nothing has, nothing has cemetery. It's just as easy to open up another one, so
Don't we have to do that with a warrant article?
you have to do it, yes.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to do a warrant article to put money into it anyway, so you can
Okay.
do, one warrant article that does 2 things, creates the
Okay.
fund and then
Okay,
puts
that
the
was
money in.
it. Okay, I was trying to keep warrant articles down, because.
Same warrant article, I guess.
All right, so anything with the cemetery, I will ask Peter
What
about
that
number.
amount is.
Yep, okay.
Get that in there.
Property liability? All set? Police department?
He's already not, it was the increase in the salaries that's
Well, he's
made
asked
it
for
go
it.
up, but he hasn't, he's
Yeah.
not even,
The chief's asked for an increase, the board is having conversations with him about that. And
even beyond what you've already given to keep, you've already given those.
he's asking for 105, he's at 90 at the moment.
But what is it for?
What's what?
What is the difference?
He's asking for more money.
That's just his
For
salary.
what?
For himself.
For himself?
For his compensation.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, for
That's the
himself.
first line, so
That's
we're
quite
looking at
a-
the 85
Are
versus
the other
105.
wages, it's harder to tell because these aren't all individual people, is he asking for increases for the
I
others?
thought he was talking, I
Not
thought
at
that was
this
for
particular
other.
time,
He's only asking, this budget only includes an increase for himself?
in his request. The selectmen will, just like under, line number 12, there'll be salary increase pool for his particular staff and for him.
There's a bunch of little things coming in because they got their steps and then they've got some others and then they
But I'm
just
just,
got bumped
yeah,
up
but
this
his
year
request
for.
It's
is
just for him at this
Just him.
particular time, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Did he say any,
'cause that's-
Because he's been working.
he has been working
mega hours
tons
because he's
more,
down
yeah,
with
of
staff,
course.
yes.
Okay, so that was,
He's-
Does he
Why?
get overtime?
No, sorry.
so
Salary.
he is working, because he's not having that additional person, he's working quite a
He's
bit
covering
more.
a lot, he's
Yeah.
covering a lot.
I think he was talking about 14 hours a week or something like that, I don't remember, there was some
Yeah.
amount.
It was-
So just
Maybe even more.
what I spoke about before, the select board are looking at a step program for all town employees.
Right, so that would,
Right now, there's only one for the fire department, and it's only a trial one for 2 years.
okay,
So we're looking at doing one for all the staff.
where they
So-
automatically know where they're going.
Yep, yep.
They're good boobies.
Yeah, that's the, if you're a good doobie. If you're not performing,
So they have to
You don't
fulfill
get the
certain steps.
yeah,
Okay,
well,
to get there.
I don't think we have anybody that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because we'd be dealing with it, so.
Okay.
All right, anything in the police department? I don't know what to tell you about the chief's salary, we're in the process of having a conversation with him about that.
One of the problems that this
Working
creates,
it
and
out.
there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, is Tom's probably, what, 3 years from
Yep.
Retirement.
Yep.
retirement?
Yeah.
And you keep increasing the salary for the job, and then when you've got to replace him, no one's gonna wanna take less money than their predecessor was making. So
According to him, this 105 is basically what people are in the position in other towns that have the same experience as him. That's what he's telling us.
I think
So can
when he
we-
was, before he became police chief, when Chet Murch was here, I don't know if you remember, he went out and got some salary numbers and job descriptions, and there was no consistency in either their title, their duties, their
Mhm.
salary, nothing. We got nothing from getting information from a lot of departments throughout the state. We got
It's
nothing.
hard to do that, because unless you have an intimate knowledge of what that person does at that particular town,
Exactly.
you do not know if those are comparables, or if, okay, well, they do 80% of what that person does, but
I know, and.
it's hard to know.
And his saying, well, that's what everybody, that's about as valuable as our little survey was.
Right.
But it does create an issue for the town going forward.
I'm just trying to get wages versus wages here. I would love to get this as just a spreadsheet rather than a PDF. PDF is darn near useless, I think.
Oh, this
So-
is not a spreadsheet anyways, this is not a spreadsheet. I can give you
How
the,
is this constructed?
I can give you the data file that runs this. Remember when Joanne sent me that file?
Okay,
I update that file. So I can send you this is not, I run this through Crystal Reports. So I use that file as a data file, and then that formats it and does all kinds of calculations for me. But I can send you the data file.
well, it would just be nice with departments to get a total of wages versus everything else.
Oh, okay.
Because then we would be able to see, especially when we keep renaming and moving stuff, and this is
Right.
part-time, and this is overtime, and, it's just like, well, how much is being spent? So I just did a little addition here.
Yep.
So it's only it's a 21,000 increase from, did I just take the activity line, not the budget?
Well, if you look at what the chief presented, he's got a sheet in there that's just salaries. You can look at that. I don't know if I.
Yeah, well, he did his presentation, but if salaries only went up 20 grand, it's because his salary went up 20 grand.
Okay, so that.
And he's got one less person too, so.
Right.
So he took that
That's
money
right.
and dumped it
Took
into
that
each of
person-
theirs.
He took
He
that person's
spread it
salary.
out between other people.
Yeah, because some of these other things.
So we still
went up.
use the money, but spread it out
Yeah.
amongst the other people and him, because he's doing the,
Well, no, next year he's asking
The
for
work.
another 20.
Yeah, so patrol wages went up 12,000, corporal went down 44,000. Sergeant went from 119 down to 0. Senior patrolman went from 0 to 62, so there's a lot of
But a
shifting.
lot of people were shifted into other positions that were higher positions that got better pay too, I think.
Yeah, because also down here, we have a lieutenant now,
I don't
Yes.
know, well,
so
that was,
there's like, what is that, musical chairs? People were moving
Yeah.
around in different places.
Musical
And I'm not
chairs.
commenting on the,
Yeah,
on the chief's request, I'm just pointing
Right.
out the
Mhm.
Right.
issues that it creates going forward.
yes, that's,
We'll also increase the chief's pension.
as far as pension and,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was,
It
It's
takes
based on
the,
your highest 3 years of earnable compensation if
That's
you were vested prior to January 1st, 2012,
Yep.
that
which
is
I
correct.
assume he was. So,
But yes, to reiterate what Pat said, he's looking to retire from the town in 3 years, so.
Yeah,
okay.
All right, are we okay with all that, or something?
Those are the only questions.
yeah.
Okay. Dispatch, we already talked about that a little bit. Stratford County, the chief is pretty sure that 7770 will stay. UNH Fire, he does not know. They're restructuring their budget, so the chief does not know what that is. So as soon as he knows, he'll let us know.
So you haven't got anything in there for either?
I stuck it in the summary because he just gave me that like almost before I sent this out, so.
Okay,
But I haven't stuck it, I'll stick it in here, but
right.
that's what the chief believes. He hasn't got a number from them, so that's. Ambulance, no, I assume
Is what
that,
it
those are
is.
questions. Ambulance, that's what it is, it's up. They're having the same problem everybody else has in terms of staffing. Fire department,
This is kind of a black box like the fire, like the
Right,
police is.
it is.
Well, he doesn't have one person, so he has to pay the ones he has to be able to fill the shifts, right?
hmm,
And they don't have the call people at all really anymore.
well, they went
just
to
come-
the 24th, so
Yep.
they don't have the on-call people.
Right,
Of which, we're told that they like the 24th, so that makes them happy.
Pretty much, yeah. It works a lot
so
better.
they plan on sleeping,
They sleep here,
right.
so.
They have the bunks.
Yeah,
They have their
bunks.
new bunks.
All right, are we okay with all that, or?
This,
Thoughts?
I don't have any
What
way
can
to
you do?
evaluate it really.
Yeah.
Right,
It's up, what, 40,
Yeah,
no, 35,000.
which is pretty much in firefighter wages.
Hmm. Okay. Court enforcement? No real change. All set?
yeah.
Emergency management?
Yeah.
Same. Highway department?
Now, the 71.4 is Steve, right?
That's part of Steve.
That's what I thought.
The other part of Steve is in the first line of the transfer station.
Okay. So how much altogether do we pay him?
You're gonna make me do math, I'm gonna do math.
First line, 12.
Oh,
and
84.
second-
84, okay.
84.
Yeah,
This whole
84.
thing, man.
Yes.
Can we keep him for that much?
Oh, he'll get some increase just like everybody
No,
else.
but I mean, is he, somebody told me they thought he was okay.
Who are you talking about?
Steve?
Look,
Yeah,
um,
well, he was, hopefully we
the
fix,
thing,
fix that.
the thing that's not in here, which, we talked about earlier, is his, assistant.
Yeah,
We need to do that.
We need to do that.
So, in terms of,
For his health and our survival.
okay,
I mean,
He is
you
staying.
look at him and he is definitely,
he works,
he works and
So-
he,
we want a
probably
part-time,
more than anyone else, and
so 20 hours a week. I'm rattling this off, tell me if it's not
and I
right.
think we'll get, they can do things, Steve's not good at everything, just like all of us are not good at everything. And if having somebody who can do those things he doesn't,
he shouldn't be doing those
he
things
should be doing them.
anyway.
So we need to get somebody in there to do that
Paying
for him.
Okay,
What, he's getting paid to do that?
There was
so,
rumor that you had someone that was interested.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Right,
yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yes,
See,
yes, we do.
see,
Good.
it's already being done. You're just not
So what do you,
saying it.
what do you figure for wages?
I don't know. We can
20
stick
hours a week is 1,000 hours a year.
$20,
$20, yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yes, we have somebody that is interested. So they currently are working part-time, so they have to decide if this gets passed, of course. they have to decide if they want to take on this particular halftime position, plus stay where they are, or just not continue in that particular position, so. But they're interested.
Okay,
Steve and this person have already had a conversation, and they are amenable.
well, that'd be good.
This
It has
person,
to be that way,
yeah, well,
because this is to help.
her commute, excuse me,
Oh,
this person's commute would be even shorter than the person
More
that's 3/4
information.
mile down the road to the,
Hmm.
so.
there you
She
go.
lives relatively close, so, and they've already, like I said, they've already had a conversation. She is acceptable to him and he is acceptable to her, so,
So let's make sure it's in the budget.
so if it's 20 hours a week times $20, that is
About
20,800?
Is it in here, is it there a line even here?
No, we have to put a line.
Okay.
Okay.
So 20 hours at $20 an hour, I think it's $2,800.
Yep.
Anything else in there?
Do we wanna talk about paving?
This is based on the plan in terms of every single year, based on what the rate is,
I know,
so that's how much it costs,
I
so.
know, well, we go through this every year, we go through all the departments and we say we can't do anything, and then.
Yep.
Have you ever whacked his budget for paving before?
When Randy had it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Steve did it himself last year.
yeah.
He
Well,
cut
look,
off, you know?
But he carried some of it forward, I think, I don't remember how much it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
I don't think Bell really needed to get done this year, but
Bill?
it did. Bell Lane.
Oh, Bellin,
It really,
the thing is, he
Yeah,
tries
he
to
did.
put them together, because if you tried to do
He tries to
Bell
do it
Lane
in 10
without.
years, if you don't
Right.
keep up with it, then it makes it
Costs,
worse.
yes.
Then you have to do more work and spend more money for
Yeah.
some,
I
you know
understand
what I
that,
mean?
but it looks
But if you
really,
have to
really
wait,
Really good.
good, and it's not a road that has any stress really to it, so
not well-traveled.
not
You
well
mean, yeah.
traveled, no.
Mm.
Walked on a
Riverside
lot.
Farm Drive is, I can tell you, because everybody cuts through from 155.
Do we have any sense that these costs will go down in the future?
Well, oil's down, oil is down,
Right,
but will it stay down forever? I don't know.
Well, yeah, down relative to its peak earlier
Yeah.
this year.
When did he budget? I mean,
Yeah,
did he
just-
budget based on?
It was based on the last time we had, what, it was like, what is it? Spring, fall, June, whatever it was. So, yeah, oil's definitely come down since then. The thing is, when we do these budgeting, you're budgeting for like 18 months out.
right.
You
So
have
it's hard
no
to know
idea.
what's gonna happen then.
The war in Ukraine stops, I think things are gonna change big time, but you don't know when that is, if it ever stops, so.
Um, Yeah, I mean, Tappan brought up before that you could just set an amount, and essentially if you
Yeah, you
didn't,
can do that.
as in, we have this at 327 right now, because I'm assuming we just figured out a cost per mile, whatever it is, and multiplied it by the miles, and that's what it is.
Of what they want.
And you could just say, well, it's 300,000, and if you run short,
Yeah,
then
But
you
this
come
has
back and you pave
hardly-
the extra 500 feet
Next
Right.
year?
next year.
Right.
yeah.
I don't know if that's how it works, if you just have to do, if it makes more sense that you just go from this end of the road to this end of the road and do that, not, it's one thing if you're paving the interstate highway from Oregon to New Hampshire,
Yeah,
you can stop anywhere and start, it's just a line, but these are
What
distinct line segments in certain neighborhoods.
he'd probably do, if we said you get $200,000, he'd
Mhm.
find the roads that are in the plan that are up for next year that fit that particular mold. So, if you said, it's $250,000, that's all you get. He'd
there,
find
there
what
was
those.
something about a specific section in Wednesday Hill
Yep.
that had real problem with icing.
It's the dip.
That dip, and that there's
The dip.
some real concerns there, so they were gonna grind that and then
And build it up or
and build it up
something, yeah.
and try and.
That's not in the 327, I can tell you that's in the CIP, because we've had these
Right.
conversations a whole bunch of
Right.
times.
Okay,
Yeah, is that-
The other
is that
thing, so
different,
those
right?
two were gonna go together at the same time, well, they have to go together, so
Yeah,
that's.
because there's no sense grinding it and then
But there was
patching it and
also
then-
several other places that needed to, were gonna be done, so they could still do that and do.
But it's all subbed out,
Right.
too, so it's not us doing it. So it may be, what, is it Continental, whatever.
Continental's been getting
You know,
it last few.
they probably have restrictions on what they'll, they won't do that.
They won't do it less than a certain amount,
Yeah.
probably, because.
They're somewhat constrained by that, they don't have as much
And
flexibility.
they'll charge you more if, let's say
If they have to come back.
Yeah, let's say you wanna do Radford Drive, which is off Wednesday Hill, and then you wanna do Spencer Lane, and what, they're gonna charge you way more than if you can bunch them all together, because then they don't have to move equipment multiple times, but.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, you can change that to whatever, you know.
But we're saying that might be padded out anyway, because it was assuming a higher cost of oil, and
Yep.
global markets have probably reshifted in a way that's gonna be
Yep.
maybe stable going forward 18 months.
Hopefully.
With the interest rate up?
Yeah, that's cutting into things.
Yeah.
You're gonna get COVID raising its head at some point. You've got what is the word, dissension in China, in Iran, so they've already taken that into consideration. So, you know, stuff happens these days and it's
Right.
like, oh my God, you can't like really plan.
This is a best guess, kind of, but we're constrained by it, you know, once we commit to it, that's basically the limit,
Mhm.
right? Unless, even if somebody threw some money at you, you couldn't just take it and put it in there because you
Well-
didn't do it in the budget.
That's the thing that's why we've tried to, the one-time ARPA money, we've tried to do things that aren't recurring.
Right.
They're one-time things, get it out of the way, get it done, and then move
Yeah, I
on.
think you were smart to do that.
It's like all those trees getting ground out on the way to the transfer station, I appreciate that. Feels like I'm not cutting so close to the other cars.
Oh, what a big, that's
Yeah.
a good
That was a good,
difference.
That always made me
I tried to drive my
nervous when
truck
we
in
get
there
there.
and I was like,
and take out some of the buildings, those trees.
I had to fold my mirrors in.
parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I took out the cemetery trees, we took out the trees between the town annex and the historical society. Those were big,
Those things,
so,
yeah.
but yeah, but the trees in the cemetery were like, they're ugly.
Yeah.
They're larch.
Larches,
Yeah.
larches are so bad, I'm so glad our neighbors took those down to the center of town
They
too.
are.
They look like sad Dr. Seuss trees.
Yeah.
Kind of look like they're
Well, the ones in
melting.
the cemetery, they were like dying and there, one of them was, the bark was there, but the
Larch don't have
ants-
needles in the wintertime.
Mhm.
You'll put them somewhere where you think you want them.
Yeah, I think even a very healthy larch looks bad. It's just a bad looking tree.
oh
They're
well.
more of a picturesque from a distance.
All right, anything else in highway?
I mean, I think that's one place where there's just gonna
There may be
be,
some.
there's gonna have to be, of course, if I wanted my tax rate to go down a lot, I would say, go for this budget, because I bet it'll get shot down. And then my taxes will fall farther, so you'll just get whatever the default is.
Yeah.
That's last year.
Yeah, but,
I didn't like last year's, so.
Yeah.
Well,
I
with,
don't like
the-
this
with the
year.
change of, no, that was the assessment and all that, but whatever.
but yeah, I do think that has to be flagged for revisiting. I mean,
Okay, I'll put that
Cut
down.
it by 27,000, say it's 300,000, it's still a huge increase.
As far as the roads, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that would still be a
Maybe do it-
50% increase, but.
Look at setting it up a different way, like you're saying, like say, this is how much money we have each year, and
Some of the
you might
towns-
have to space out doing the roads every 11 years instead of every 10 years, or whatever, you know what I mean?
some-
Because
yeah.
I'm not the only one that's mentioned, I've had several people mention about roads that were being done where they thought they could have waited another year or two. or-
So he's doing it on the schedule.
On
Like,
the
it hasn't
schedule,
been
but-
done for 10 years or whatever, they're supposed to
Right.
look at it.
Well, the
and
macro
then-
problem the town is facing is that it deferred maintenance on all of its buildings for way too long.
Yeah.
Right.
So the only way that you may be able to right that wrong is to say, well, defer maintenance on your roads to a little bit different schedule, a 12-year rotation instead of a 10-year rotation or something.
Right.
I mean, there's just,
Yeah.
the only other solution is, hey, taxpayers, eat it. You just eat it all now. People back a decade ago 2 decades ago, they got the discount because nobody was maintaining the buildings.
Right,
And now you have to pay for all those things. You know, there's gotta be some way that we can split the difference there by trying to move around some of this stuff in the operating
I think the
budget.
road thing sounds like an option anyway.
yeah.
All right, anything else in highway? No?
Nope.
Transfer station?
I have two questions. The
Yep.
first one is the guy that we talked about in here, in the correct place?
It's my understanding he is.
He's already,
It's my understanding. I can ask that question.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Is that what waste managed operator full-time is?
Well, there's-
Sure.
Because
Two-
FY '22 budget is 0 for that
Let me-
position,
there's
so.
2
Dum,
or
dum.
full-time.
Let me ask, because,
That doesn't look
not to do
very,
any names, but
doesn't look very,
the first line is Steve, the second line is Chip, the third line is, what's his
where are you
name?
looking?
What's his name?
Right here?
Yeah,
And then
Oh,
part-
manager,
that's part of Steve.
that's Steve, okay. What's
Foreman is-
Chip?
Chip is the next one
Chip,
down.
yeah, runs
The
the,
next guy, the
how
next
come it
guy, I
went
don't remember.
from that to that?
I don't know who this,
Management.
I'll
The
ask,
changes in the wages don't make sense for what you're saying.
Why,
Yes,
why is
right.
this, why did it go from down, why did Chips go,
because somebody else was in there with him.
so that was 2 people?
Yeah, they got
And
changed.
now it's
I believe.
1?
Yeah, it's one doing that, because
And
there's
now
only
it's-
one foreman.
Right, and Chip is the foreman.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
So-
you've got the other, why am I spacing it on the guy's name?
Can't help it.
Can't help
Well, there's another guy there, so I think, I'll ask the
yeah, he
question, but,
wasn't,
Make sure
No.
it's,
Barrington.
make
Yes,
sure it's
that
in
guy.
there.
Yeah.
I-
Make sure it's in there.
yeah, I can ask the question.
The other question is, why do they have
I
internet?
should know.
There's
I
what?
talk to him every day,
Why do they have internet?
every other day.
And nobody else
Because,
has internet.
yeah, they do,
Like, well, the highway department doesn't have internet.
yeah, they do.
They do.
Yep, they get it from this particular provider. So there's a wireless, as far as I remember, there's a the connection comes into the transfer station, and then there's a wireless that goes to the highway department, and that's
I
how they get
see,
their internet.
okay.
I
Is that
don't
why
think
it
that's
costs
changed.
$141 a month?
If you do the calculation. I
Switch to
don't know.
Fidium.
That's a possibility.
Get a,
We
That's a
just got it on
possibility.
our road, do you have it?
yeah, it's awesome,
Yeah,
It's
we
good?
have it.
yeah, solid.
Okay, good to know.
We switched to
Okay.
YouTube TV too instead of cable, it's pretty great.
Yeah, I got rid of
It's got excellent World Cup coverage so
Comcast a
far,
long
so.
time ago. It does.
This is soccer, yeah. We can ask that particular question, because that's something to explore for all the particular locations, so.
Well, yeah, but Pat's right, internet is not a line item on any of these other departments. So that must be buried somewhere else.
It's, well, who's gonna have it is the town offices, it comes through the selectman's office, I believe. So that's gonna be in the IT number. So that's just about everybody. The police department, they get it, where
Police
do
and fire, I didn't see it there either.
I think it's under something else.
We definitely have.
I mean, I just searched the document for the word internet and so it's not
Yeah,
called
it's
that
not,
uniformly.
it's under one of these services, where is it?
Is it
But
under
it's
like
one
Comcast or
contract
something
for
like
the
that?
town, right?
No, they're separate accounts.
See that.
They're all separate accounts.
They're separate accounts.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's got it.
No, it's not there.
Yeah, it's not internet. I think it's like,
It says internet provider here.
yeah, that's just for that. I think it's under lease agreements and contracts or something, maybe, I don't know. You can ask the question. But the bigger question is, the town should be looking at what other options there are for internet.
Well, now we have Fidium. They're going in pretty much all the neighborhoods.
Yeah, I mean, I'm heartened to know that there's, that they're shooting wireless between 2 buildings over there. Would there ever be an option of relocating the highway department buildings and just like consolidating all of that into one big space?
What it would be nice is to run fiber between all the buildings and have only one connection.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
That would be nice.
I'm saying even
Get rid of the
further.
building altogether.
Get rid of the building.
Why do we have all these buildings, all these, I mean, it is a ongoing issue, right? And so there's a garage that's sort of down the road and separate, why wouldn't it just be, why aren't all those things one big building? I mean,
Well-
you gain economies of scale, you only have to have one heating plant, so part of it
Oh, I
doesn't
see
have to be
what you mean.
heated, you know? I guess there's, one argument is the highway department trucks need to go in and out all the time, and you don't wanna be opening and closing a gate, although a gate opener is pretty cheap to get, and you can run that off a garage door opener thing, and
Yeah,
the highway trucks can go in and out of there,
I
but,
think in terms of the two highway buildings, it's cheaper to use what you get than to tear them down and start. all
yes,
over again,
yes,
but-
I mean, now we're into
Amazing
it.
how difficult that seems to be in this town.
So,
I mean, like, the ultimate savings for Lee would be if you could go back and undo every other decision that's been made, and have a combination dump, police, fire, highway
Yes,
department, it's all
yes.
one
Put us
giant,
all together.
one giant hangar.
One,
I mean, you don't have to have separate generators for each building, you can have one massive heating plant that's zoned
Yep.
out or whatever. I mean, I don't know, maybe economies of scale disappear at some point, because you have to have separate heating things to heat different zones. But,
then you get into, if you put all your eggs in one basket,
And they burn.
you get one big insurance check.
Start all over again.
Well, isn't that the dream? You lose all of it at once, and they have to pay you for it all.
all right. All right, so I'll ask a question about the internet connections. Anything else in transfer station you have questions about?
Good, we need to cut hundreds of thousands of dollars, and so far we've gotten, we might get $700 out of it.
You haven't cut anything so far, so,
Yeah, yeah.
so, okay with transfer station?
Mhm.
Okay.
solid waste disposal.
Solid waste. The thing that you don't have in here is under the Lamprey closure cost.
Yeah.
We don't have the final number for that. Based on the preliminary stuff that, because I sit on the exec committee of that particular group, thank you very much. Yeah, another committee I'm on. The amount for Lee will probably go down.
Okay.
What is there a
Are we
ballpark?
sending
What is
this?
Well,
it?
I put in what they've asked for, the 1698, which is the same as last year. It's probably gonna be a little bit less, so,
Oh, labor
But that's not,
closure
you know-
costs. Oh.
Yep.
It's not.
No, it's
Scott,
not.
that's the cost of retiring a landfill, is that what it is?
it's two things. There's the thing that we're doing, previously, there's been a charge for closing the landfill and also operating the cooperative. So the proposal coming forward, which I think we're gonna approve, is the combining of those two things. So you always got one bill, but there's only gonna be one charge. So it's just gonna be Lamprey River. The other thing we have to be cognizant of, which is in this particular budget, is the rate is going up for dumping. So that MSW bulky waste number is definitely gonna go up. They are charging, they were supposed to be charging us, but they haven't charged us, but they're gonna start charging us as of October 1st, this last year, or this previous month. There's a site fee that Rochester's been charging Waste Management, they haven't been charging us, but they're already started charging us. So that includes that number. But when they put in phase 3, which is supposed to be next spring, there's gonna be an additional $4 charge per ton that Rochester is gonna be charging Waste Management, which they're gonna pass on to us.
Awesome.
So,
And that's not accounted for in this $10,000
No.
difference?
not yet.
Okay.
So what is going on there?
Their Waste Management is trying to increase their revenue flow, so they're checking out any ways they can get money, and they've been supposedly, they should have been charging us, but they haven't. So they said, oh, wait a minute, we have supposed to be charging you, but we haven't, so now we're gonna charge you. So they're just trying to get extra money, extra cash. And
But
this,
if they're closing, they're really reaching their limit there?
that's what the additional charge
And
is,
one
that's for phase 3.
Section. And then they open up another phase, that's another, so phase 3, so, and it's all cyclical, it's buried, it
Yeah.
gets,
Right, right.
rots, it gets waste, and then they continue, and
They
And then it
then,
gets taller, and then they give them a variance to make it taller, so that eventually it can be a ski hill.
yeah.
No,
Ski
but
down the
now they're
garbage.
charging Rochester for dumping too now, is that correct?
Rochester is charging them,
Yeah, I do not know.
right?
No, I think that they're charging now for, there was something about that.
Oh, they weren't charging the town of Rochester,
Anything
the city of
before,
Rochester before, but
but
now
now they
they're gonna.
are, so there was, so there's been some changes in Rochester that way, so they're charging each other for.
So now Rochester's saying, okay, well, we're gonna charge you the extra $1 for.
Is this something where rates at the transfer station then need to be changed so that more revenue is coming in?
Well, the stuff that goes to this particular MSW, that's just people's trash.
That's the trash, so.
I know,
it's
but I'm
nothing else.
I'm looking at other
These are
lines, and
fees.
whatever, charge people more construction demolition fee.
These are costs, Cory, yeah.
Yeah, those particular, like, construction and demolition, that doesn't even go to waste management, that goes to ERCO down
Yeah.
in Epping. Or is it Brentwood, Epping, Brentwood?
Yeah, so sorry, I'm not referring to a line item, I'm just, I know.
Can you charge more for?
Yeah, I mean, can we offset, the cost of our transfer station is going up,
Would just like the
would our
tires,
fee schedule go up correspondingly?
Well, the fees for things that you bring to the transfer station that aren't MSW, those are based on what it costs us to get rid of them. So there's associated fees with those particular items. We don't charge people right now for bringing in their trash.
I understand, well, you can, I mean, lots of places cross-subsidize things, so you say, well, our municipal solid waste is going up, either that gets passed along straight to the taxpayer, or we charge people a little bit more per pound for construction and demolition waste.
Well, you can do anything, propose anything you want. The biggest, this
I don't know if it would
MSW,
make a
if
that
we
much
got
difference.
about 40% of that tonnage, I believe it's 40%, Lou, is it Lou? No, not Lou, Paul Guzowski, and Dean Rubine. They did a presentation to us, and I believe they said 40% of their tonnage is food waste. If you recycle the food waste, then you can cut down the amount you send to the landfill, which
Right.
reduces your cost.
so that's why we've got into doing the
So,
composting.
we just gotta get more
Sending
people
it-
to
we
do
need
that.
More
I do-
people maybe.
Yeah.
To do that, and
I do my own, a lot of people do their own, I do my own at my house, so I don't have to bring it, but I also have
trying to get
a,
people to do that.
elderly woman that I
In terms of Court's thing,
do
yes,
bring it for, you
you
know,
could,
so.
you'd increase the revenue coming from the transfer station.
Because I
So
noticed the
subsidize.
tires,
Increase that.
it's costing more money, that's.
Yep.
That's quite a bit of a jump, 25% more
Yep.
for the tires. Are we
It's-
taking in enough to compensate for that?
You're getting charged more, yes.
Right.
So I don't believe there's anything that we take in that we don't get reimbursed for by those particular fees.
Okay,
Like there's certain things like appliances and stuff, you notice that we don't charge for appliances because when we bring those in, we sell that stuff and we make money on it. So it doesn't cost us anything, we're actually making money on those
it's
particular
just
things.
the computer components. that-
Electronics
Right.
is hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, so, you know, if it cost us X amount of dollars to get rid of C and D,
And the
we
big
charge extra
other
for
nut
that.
would be to go to pay by the bag,
You
know.
could do that
That
too.
Tried that,
some
if
people-
Oh,
they
yeah.
brought that up,
That went over well
everybody-
because everybody in the
Everybody went
Fed were
nuts.
getting this awesome new transfer station and we're paying for that, so.
People end
That's
up,
like
never
charging-
made it, the bag and tag never made it
Yeah.
anywhere.
No, but I like the idea of setting up something for, I don't know how you police that there's not other sort of stuff in it, but if there's food waste, things that can go into a separate bin, and then it doesn't go into MSW, and
So we have that.
some big pile of banana peels can go, where is that now?
It just needs, so where you put your garbage in that last bin, just outside the door, there's, big buckets that
Yeah,
you put your
Mr.
food
Mr.
waste.
They're too big.
I had no idea that that was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a
It's been there
big
for a while.
program a couple of years
It
ago
needs to
get
be
that
more,
And
you
they're,
know, told,
And we need this.
They're supposed
we need to get more people to participate in it,
We
yeah.
actually participated in it at the start to get you the critical mass of
Yeah,
garbage to
Yeah.
get it going,
So,
because you needed a certain amount.
check the transfer station, you get free bags
Yeah,
to put your stuff in, and then you bring the bag and you dump it in that container.
Cause it's a recyclable it breaks down.
Yeah.
So you
Oh, I
can
see.
throw
So
that
I'm not
bag,
dumping out my banana peels into this, I'm putting it in a biodegradable bag, and
exactly, and
that's
then
pretty
it,
convenient.
and then it goes right in the bin.
So it's cheaper to pay Mr. Fox to take this stuff than for it to go into MSW. And now with the rates going up, it's even more cost effective.
Yeah, trying to get people to do it though, especially ones, I mean, I don't throw my banana peels in there because they're too good for my garden, so.
Okay,
You know, or my coffee grounds, or that kind of stuff.
See, I
get-
do all that, I put it in my
I
own
put the stuff
compost
that the
bin.
doggy's
Which is
gonna
fine.
try and chew up.
It's still-
out of our
it's-
part.
it's
But it's still saving it from going in the trash, so
Right, right, so
it
if
saves
we,
a lot.
yeah,
Yep,
so if we can get more people to throw that trash, they don't realize how much
Yep.
food waste,
That's huge amount.
have we tried doing things like, I'm sorry, this is derailing this conversation, but, I mean, reaching out through the schools, like everybody else seems to, stuff gets sent home in my kid's folder all the time. Scholastic Books is trying to get my money every day of the week, it seems.
yeah.
So,
the
it's-
sustainability committee is doing those, that's one of their initiatives.
Okay.
So that's, they've been doing that for a few years, but yes, they need to do more in terms of letting people know. There's
Yeah.
that big push when they first started, but I don't think it's
They
big.
Right.
have some very good things on
The e-crier.
on the site, if somebody's
Oh.
interested enough, but getting people to actually do it maybe requires
Yeah.
some more.
Deb Messenger.
A lot of people just drive by it and don't even know that
Yeah,
it's
Probably
there.
Maybe
the
there's a
biggest thing is-
sign there that says, we spend
I know.
this amount on food waste that goes into the trash, you know?
That's an idea.
Maybe a big,
This
and
is,
a big sign saying food waste, like through the store.
right. Having a
free
sign
bags
there,
are
but
available.
also-
Free bags are available,
Things
we need
to
a
do.
lot more.
Or
Maybe
estimate
another
that
big
the
thing in the
town
e-crier and
spends,
everything else.
Yep.
you know, 30-some thousand on dumping that in the landfill, where it could
Yeah.
go, you know.
Educate and inform, and hopefully we can get a lot more people to do it.
Right, it might be worth it too.
Okay. Anything you wanna change in that line item, or that,
Back to this
Yeah.
budget?
it's, anything, you all set?
Animal control.
Animal control,
Isn't that the police?
no, that's,
Who does
that's,
that?
yes, but it's the, dogs, in case there's a dog that has to be, or an animal
Yeah.
that has to be.
We had a
ordered.
cow running around,
I don't
I
know
wonder
if
if
that,
that comes
Oh
under
my
that.
God. Yeah.
yeah, that used to
That would be
be,
more than $100, that would be.
well, it just keeps the line up, line item open.
Right, right.
We had a
Social
bobcat in
agencies,
our yard. Are
They
there a lot of
pointed out
bobcats?
women aid, I don't.
hold on, yep, let me change that in here, so I have that. 2,000, anything else I'm missing in there?
I don't think so.
Some of these we didn't get anything
Yeah, Ready
from.
Rides
Yeah,
didn't
we-
come, Lamprey didn't come.
Homeless shelter, Strawberry County,
Where did
Ready
Women Aid-
Rides
is
didn't
Women
come,
Aid-
I don't
No.
think they're getting people to help. Homemakers.
Oh,
help.
Lemonade wasn't even, there wasn't even a line.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
Oh,
there's like,
where did you?
right there, so.
Right there.
Oh, yep. You
Okay.
just have to add the, oh, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you didn't
No,
put
I
it
didn't put,
over.
it, there needs to be a
Right,
number in there,
yeah.
okay, so. Are those all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
right.
homeless shelter didn't come again.
Nope. Welfare,
So that is for people that are in need of assistance
that
with
is the
stuff?
person that we have as our health, general
Which
assistance.
actually does it for another community too,
It's
right?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, yeah.
But that's what we pay them?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
She didn't use any of our.
And they actually help people in our community to get them hooked up with one of these
mhm.
services.
Right.
That's
Yep.
what they do.
So
We're not
2000,
using any of our own money for assistance.
Okay.
I don't know how this, I sent you the information in terms of the expenses and revenue, so, but I don't know in terms of 2023 what we spent so far, but she is very, 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 very good.
At getting them to get other help,
Other programs, so
other
that,
programs, so she's side slipping it from our budget.
otherwise we would
So that's why
need to
we
do it.
help these other guys to help
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Yeah,
Help us,
yes,
so, but yeah, but welfare is
And they're
this,
good.
direct assistance is the same thing, you know, if we budget even $1, we still have to spend what we have to spend.
right.
We can't say, okay, well, we budget $1, we can only spend $1, it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
All right, so we're okay with those two? Parks and Rec,
What's going on there?
so I would just zero out the Oyster River thing. I think
Yes,
it's
I would
impossible to do
ditto.
that this year.
all right, zeroing, okay.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I mean, I just find that the least compelling thing in the world is to subsidize. And the fact that, I really wish he would come at us with, how many kids in Lee need financial assistance for this versus, you know, I don't know, I've been to a lot of kids' parties now
Well, it's
from the
reducing,
elementary
yeah.
school. And I'm looking around and I'm like, you don't need help sending your kid to park basketball, okay? Like, you're doing okay. And if you would have had that number, I'm not compelled to tax people to subsidize a middle class or upper middle class child's recreational sports activity. That seems like we're just taking money and moving it around for no reason.
Especially when it seems there's a few number of kids that are doing a whole bunch of them.
Yes, there's some super consumers over there. But yeah, I wish that he had had a number where he said, we give the scholarship and the full subsidy to 80 kids a year. That would have been a compelling social welfare case rather than
We've had this
So what
discussion
we've
with him,
talked
he's
about
never given us that number.
every single year,
And I asked him
Right.
specifically, I said, do you have kids that are scholarshiped? Yes. Do you scholarship everybody who requests it? Yes.
how many is that? Yeah.
But that's all you ever get from
from
him.
Lee, we don't know.
You
And
don't
he
know.
does, he's.
Yeah. If we had been offered 32,000 as our request to subsidize Lee at this level, and we offered the scholarship to the tune of 5,000, 5,000 would have been a more compelling number.
Yes.
Of, okay, that's helping kids who just can't afford this otherwise.
I agree with you completely.
So, I mean,
But
until
the
then, I
other
think
thing
it's
that we
just-
talked about was, if we knew as a town and had something that if someone needs assistance, because we certainly don't want a kid that can't afford it, or a family that can't afford it, to not have their kid involved. I'm not saying that, maybe there are some, maybe there aren't.
Yeah, but
But
essentially they're
if we
taking,
would even, I mean, I would
but essentially they're taking
donate to
care of that
something like
now.
that to help them, you know.
They're taking care of that now through another mechanism, which is basically, all the kids who can't afford it probably are paying a little bit more
But
to
it
subsidize the other
wouldn't,
kid.
it
It's
wouldn't,
fine.
certainly wouldn't be $32,000.
Yes,
It
yeah.
would just be like, even if Lee knew and we had an option for anybody who was participating in the sports, could
Right,
fill out a form and come in and say, is there any way, I mean,
The other thing, just as an FYI, the Women Aid people are they've been in Newmarket and Durham, somewhat in Madbury, but not too much in Lee. They want to make inroads into Lee. One of the things they do for the Newmarket Rec Department is, this last year, we gave them $5,000 so that the kids that do their programs, they go on field trips.
Oh.
And the kids that can't afford it don't go on the field trips.
So
They talked
Woman
about
Aid
that,
could
yes,
do
they
it.
could
So-
do that. Yep.
Yes, so maybe that's something I could bring up to them, that maybe they consider getting a proposal from Oyster River Youth that says, okay, well, there's X number of kids from Lee that don't get to do, or would love to have these particular programs, but they can't afford them. Because right now, Oyster River Youth does that internally. So maybe I can get him to see if he can do a proposal to Women Aid, just like we do with Newmarket, to support these kids from Lee.
Does it-
Or
does it go through ORYA though, or does it,
Well,
or
this-
can we
you were.
put
You could
something
do it.
out
you could do it too.
in our town and say, anyone who is a resident of Lee, if they have a child
You
that,
could do that.
you know.
But you've got another mechanism that they've already given money to Newmarket, so
No, I'm not saying not using Woman Aid. I'm saying, does it have to, how do you find these kids in need?
you would have to have some kind
It
of
has to
thing
go through
from,
ORYA?
yes, for oral way to say, okay, Johnny and Sally want to do this and their families can't afford it. Would you guys sponsor them, or whatever, pay for their particular
Okay.
class?
One other question I had about ORYA, last year was the first year we didn't give them anything.
Yep.
Did that impact our relationship with them in terms of their taking care
I
of?
thought we gave
the-
something last year.
Yeah.
No, we didn't give them.
Oh,
anything
you
else.
you cut it all out. Oh, good.
I was a
Are we
nasty
still-
person that zeroed them out.
Yeah,
Are we still getting what we need from them with the fields and the scheduling and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
that's all still working.
yeah, we expanded the relationship because one of the things that at Little River Park, the upper field, the sheep field,
Yeah.
you know the field I'm talking about?
Little
So
River, yes.
the sheep field, but, you know. So we gave them permission to put in a water line that goes from the pump house all the way up to that field, and they're gonna put irrigation stuff in there so they can use that. And they're also gonna put in more loam, so they're making that into another field. So they're paying for all that.
Is there a good enough water source there, so there's, okay, good.
It's not potable,
It's not potable water?
no,
Okay.
but it is okay for irrigation,
So-
stuff like that.
So that's gone. Everybody agree?
Yep.
How about rec events and
Yeah, rec events.
supplies?
Is that,
That is where they're talking about having some classes and stuff?
Yeah, that was the
was this
presentation.
the,
Where are the?
Larry is, he's obviously not
No,
doing,
no, it's Karen and,
Karen?
Karen is doing it, and so are they doing some of the same programs? They said
yeah, they're
the
not
fishing derby.
doing,
they
they're not
said
doing the movie thing, they're doing like the fishing derby and
And,
Bottle rocket.
the model rocket,
winter
but,
carnival they're doing this
not the
year.
Easter egg hunt, what is it called now? It's called something else, the egg hunt or something.
So they're still
Not-
doing all
Yeah,
this?
they're doing all the programs, but they're not
Okay.
doing movies or whatever.
They're not doing movies,
Yeah.
but they wanna do a winter carnival.
Okay.
The movie night didn't really
Didn't
No.
work out.
go over too well. I mean, it was okay for a
Some
little
people.
bit, but
What
yeah.
happened to the fireworks? Where are they?
They want,
Town fair,
they want 4,000 in the fair,
No,
the
they're
fair as
gonna,
well.
they're going to fundraise.
they're gonna
They're
fund
not
it.
here at all. Super.
That's great. But
I
that's the
thought
one
we
upsets
heard
me
that
the
they
most.
asked.
Yeah.
That was another one I wanted to get
I
rid of
don't think so.
historically.
I don't like lighting money literally on fire.
I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to leave
Up
about
in-
8 o'clock. I have a,
All right, well, we're almost done anyways.
All right,
Library,
so that's good, okay.
how about the full-time person? That's the only thing really that's in there that's,
is there any way
I
we can
struggle
come
with
up
this
with a
every year.
negotiated settlement with them where we agree to fund part of it? Because this is the third or fourth year they've come to us with this. And they really, courtesy of the town giving them access to town hall, have expanded their programming tremendously. And I really don't have a problem with this woman, with their increasing her to full-time if they
Well-
think that'll work, but.
they get all their money from the town anyway, so,
Well,
Where else are they
yes,
gonna get it
except
from?
we could give them less in some other place,
oh, so you want them to redistribute what they already get?
some portion of it. To make up for the ancillary, the auxiliary payroll
Because we
services.
give them, what does that budget go to? Remember when we said,
46,800, so,
Because the problem isn't the payroll, the
didn't we
payroll
give
problem's the
them
benefits.
gave them a $250,000 or whatever? Remember the budget that what was the,
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, we did,
That was
I
in
remember,
2022.
2 years in a row or
No, flip your
whatever.
page.
Because I
Oh,
remember
yes,
Rebecca
yes,
said,
yes, okay.
why don't we just give them a flat? And everybody, because I was chairman at the
That's
time,
right,
attacked
that's
me and said that I
We'd like to
was,
attack you, though.
I was
Well,
draconian and so
also,
forth. And I'm
also
like,
remember the
well,
ancillary
that's what they
expenses
wanted.
aren't in here, so,
We could do the same thing again and say, we're gonna increase your, we're gonna decrease the amount of money we give you because,
and have them find it,
and have them
Perfectly
figure out
fine.
how to do it.
perfectly fine. They just have to
So what
reallocate.
what were they asking for? What was it out of that figure that I just said, 250 or whatever, where were it? The total,
There's your, well, wait a minute, you're on the wrong, sorry.
oops, oh.
There's your 250.
See, the
Oh,
problem is
okay.
that the expenses that really bother me are the things that aren't in this budget, they're geographically someplace else.
So like we did before.
But they'll be moved, though. Remember, that's the ancillary expenses. There's a line there,
Well,
Okay.
it was actually.
Third one
right,
down.
2022.
That would include all the increased expenses.
that would
I think
include
we need
all
to
of,
revisit this when we have those numbers.
yeah, that's what I said. I asked the Andy of them, and he's gonna get them. That's the number that's gonna be moved out of, like, personal administration and financial administration into this particular line item. Because
Now
you
you're
got,
basically proposing, you do whatever you want with this amount of money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I was,
Replace the library technician with a robot and then, hire this person, whatever you can do.
Buy
It's a-
fewer books since nobody's reading them anyway and do this over here, you know.
Well, but that's increasing, the reason why they have to ask you for it is because it doesn't show up in this because.
It does,
it will
it
eventually.
will.
Okay, and so ancillary PR expenses includes all of their benefits.
Yep,
Yep.
everything that's
Okay.
associated with those particular positions.
Sorry, yeah,
No,
okay.
that's fine. And I don't, like I said, that's the number I asked for Andy. So you're gonna get a number for PR, you're gonna get a number for property liability, and you're gonna get a number for heat. So the heat is a calculation based on how much propane is being used on a percentage basis for those particular structures. So that's how he calculates that. Property liability is based on their particular building, they pay for their building, so he breaks that out of the insurance line. So that's gonna reduce the insurance line that we have there. And then PR is the FICA, retirement, health, dental, long-term, all those particular charges.
And retirement.
Your retirement, yes.
Now, the person that's in here, this would be, when you put aside the money for the medical and everything else, you put in enough to cover if they were a family plan. Now, with this particular person, it would be an individual, but you don't know, somebody else would get that position, and then you would end up having
Good.
a family plan.
Good.
So it's hard to plan, and yet you're gonna put a
Believe he
larger.
knows who this, well, we know who
If
this
we know
person
who this
is
person is.
and what coverage they would take,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but they could,
They could
who
get,
knows what life changes they have, they
they could
quit.
get married.
Many more
I don't
children,
think, I
right?
don't think she'd
Court.
be having any children. Older for that.
Okay.
Sure, but just, some event can happen in someone's life, and they hire someone who's 25 and has 3 kids.
Yep,
You know,
Okay.
that can happen,
Okay.
so you have to build in
Okay.
flexibility.
you
Good.
have to deal with the position, not the individual.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
unless
when
we
I
can
get
sign
the,
people to long-term contracts, but,
you will have
like
no children
subsistence
and will
wages.
not get married and,
yeah.
but when I get those numbers, I will put them in and
Right.
let you guys know.
Okay.
So anything else in there that you wanna
No.
change? I guess, can we talk about this later when we get those numbers?
Yep,
Because I think if you wanna do a flat dollar
Yeah.
amount, you're gonna have to figure out what that number is.
yep.
what those numbers are, yeah.
Yeah.
Patriotic
That was
purposes,
Rebecca's,
I think,
when you-
I added it to this one, but Andy said yes, he did request, I didn't see that, but I put 250 in here. Hopefully you're okay with that.
Yep.
Yep.
The other thing I asked him, I thought this year particular budget, because the buntings need to be replaced periodically, and I think it's every 3 years.
Mhm.
And the buntings are more than the 250, so I asked him to check with Bill and Kristen to see, is it this year, this budget they were talking about, where we replace those, or is it the next one? So it might be 500 versus 250, but, so, we leave 250 in there. Conservation Commission,
I had a question. Katrin brought up an issue at CIP about forest management. Is that something that the Conservation Commission is supposed to be doing?
they have management plans for town properties.
Okay, she
Right.
said that there was forestry stuff that wasn't being done.
Do not know
You
that.
know, okay. I
I
had
know
never heard
this-
that issue raised before, and we didn't talk about it because it wasn't.
As far as I know, they have a management plan for all the town properties.
Okay.
I do not know if they're not,
She seemed to think they hadn't done anything with it.
She seemed to think there was stuff that was not being addressed.
then I would need to know what that
Yeah,
was.
and it
And
wasn't, it had nothing to do with what we were talking about, so we kind of dropped it and moved on. I wondered if anybody, if those words, I had never
I do
heard
not
those
know
words
that.
before. Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay,
didn't
don't worry
hear
about
that,
it. Thank
so-
you, that's fine.
So, from my recollection of the Conservation Commission's request, they had kind of chapter, line by line,
Right.
what this was going to, but it is a 50% increase.
They're doing more. Trails Committee is quite active.
Yeah, and I'm a happy consumer of those services.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'm trying to figure out ways of
Yep,
cutting this back. And this is a petty amount of money, it's $3,000.
every little bit helps.
Yeah, if you cut 3,000 10 times, you get 30, and so on and so on, it's all additive, right? It's
Which
gonna-
is
We can say,
like
let's consider
2
it
cents.
next year or something, or.
Yeah, which is 2 cents, but 2 cents
Yeah.
counts,
Cents is
so
2 cents.
we don't get to the big amount.
No,
I mean, this is why we always go after and cut the paving, because it's a large number.
Right.
It's like if you just made,
Yep.
we can make 100 small cuts, everybody, cut every, fine, go through and cut every department by 1,000. Right, okay, no, save a
Well, I
little
think
bit of money.
Scott did
Do it
that
again,
one
do it
year.
again, do
Did
it
that
again.
when Joanne was ready to
Or
kill it.
percentage.
yeah, we try to do it because one of the things I said before is usually we dump 200,000 to 300,000 into the unassigned fund balance. if you try to do all that to get that ahead of time, so you don't budget for those things, one, you can get burned, or two, it's a pain in the so it's not really worth it. It's vital, just deal with it on the backside.
Yep.
Take those particular funds. I explained this to somebody in the library today because she was after me. And I said, what we usually do is, we put money that is dumped in the fund balance against the tax rate so that it gets back to the taxpayer. So she contradicted me and said, no, you don't do that. I said, yeah, we do. So,
Try to.
so conservation, we okay with that?
Yep.
Long-term debt, one of them's gone.
One's gone.
Yay.
The other one jumps off next year. And the interest is down to $204. Those are obligatory, so we can't say no to those.
Awesome, okay.
So you didn't cut anything.
Well, we cut
Yeah, we did.
River.
What did we, oh, you know, let's, one thing, all right.
And
And
we
I
added a
have,
few things.
I have,
$15,000.
I have, let me just go over the
We may
questions.
have to go over it again.
Computer
See if
hardware,
anything happens differently.
I'm gonna ask about replacements. Health insurance, I'm gonna ask about that, the 506. I'm going to ask Peter about the fence in the cemetery. I'm still waiting for the fire department and the official one for the police department for dispatch. Putting in position in the highway department, 20 hours per week at $20 for $20,800. There will be ancillary costs with that as well. Asphalt and paving, I'll ask questions. What am I asking questions about?
What we can reduce or
Well,
move
I mean,
to another,
If you calculated that rate 6 months ago and the oil prices
Oh, is
dropped,
it?
and that price, yeah, the prices.
could we comfortably drop it by, let's
Okay.
say, 27,000 and maybe even 300 grand?
Let's leave it. Transfer station, confirming that the new full-time person is in there at the proper rate.
And you're gonna add the part-time person for Steve.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
was-
did
Just
that.
talked about
Yeah.
that.
I will ask the internet provider question to see if we can explore other providers. At the Women Aid and at $2,000. The ancillary expenses in the library. And ask the question in terms of how much the elder exemption cost us, internet connection. Food waste, I'll see if we can bring that up to sustainability people to push that.
Yeah,
And the Oyster River Youth Subsidy of Lee Kids, I can see if I can touch base with him and find out if that's something that he'd be interested in working with us, or maybe even Women Aid or something like that.
Yeah.
I have 2 items.
Okay,
One is, as I brought up at the town meeting, I think last year, when you let old people stay in their houses, you don't have somebody move in with 3 kids who sends them through Oyster River School District and costs us $28,000 a piece or whatever for those people.
Spoke to this man who just had a baby.
Yeah, yes, I mean, I will be taking advantage of all of you, and all of the taxpayers of this town, because I'm gonna educate as many kids as I can through this system. But my point is that you may be looking to get that 8,000 or whatever it is out of somebody's property, but if you tax them that and they say, well, I can't, I gotta move, picking up, moving in with my kids in Barrington or whatever they're gonna do, somebody moves in there who's got 3 little kids that they're gonna start shoving through the school district, your tax bill's gonna go up. So you just grab that 8 grand, in the meantime, your tax rate goes up by $90,000 has to be spent on sending, but I mean, that's what you get when you get people moving in, they move
You're
into
right.
this district.
they move in because they have kids
Yeah.
or are planning to, and then, yes.
And then they
So you can
move
be-
out as soon as their kids are through school and they find out
Usually.
that there's really no services for people that are
Unless
elder
we
moving through that
stay.
stage.
Because we're,
it's true,
Yeah.
true.
Well, people are definitely staying in
Stupid, I
town
guess.
because they love the community and they're loyal to the community. but-
exactly, that's.
But you can't,
like,
your
kids
loyalty,
are- Our kids are all
your
gone,
loyalty
Until
can't
the
make you
kids
pay
are
bills that you can't afford.
right?
That's my point. So there's a penny wise, pound foolish aspect to over scrutinizing that and trying to get those people out of the town because you're just gonna move in basically net costs. So that's one issue. But the other is, what is the trustees line in the library budget?
That's just money that the town gives the trustees for their allotment, they get paid quarterly. So
Okay.
the payroll gets run through our system, that's why you're seeing all those payroll amounts. And then the rest of the money that they ask for like books and stuff like that, they get paid quarterly for those particular, so that's the remainder of their budget.
So trustees goes into the library trustees budget, and they use that to just,
Pay for the books and the internet,
They
all that
usually,
other
if you
stuff.
look at their presentation, generally they break that out.
Yes, they do.
okay,
So we don't pay those, we just give them money so they can pay for whatever it is.
I
Most
see.
libraries do their own expenses, so the town, let's say the library budget in the town of X is $250,000. The town, when they get their tax money in, just gives them $250,000. We have to do their payroll because it's cheaper in the long run for us to run their payroll than for them to pay a payroll service to do their payroll.
I
So
see.
basically, it saves the town money. Because we're doing payroll anyways, adding 4 people, 5 people, it's negligible. But if
I
they have
see.
to go pay for their own service, that's gonna be way more expensive, so.
so that's basically everything other than people and
Everything
heat.
other than people and.
Heat and
benefits.
property, buildings, so forth,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then they bring in, they don't charge late charges, they said, but they do have,
Donations.
fundraisers
Yeah.
and donations and stuff like
And the
that.
Friends of the Library provide all those passes that you can get for free to
Yes,
different
those are
museums.
great. That's right.
So talking about Tort's first thing, Tort's family is gonna cost us upwards of $90,000 from all those students. And I don't think we can even get close to that in terms of tax revenue from the Bloomquist McCaffrey property, so
Right.
I think we need
No,
to
I
start
don't
pushing them
own a
out.
mansion, so
Push them
no.
out. But the thing is, what Court said is true, and he's
That's-
not the
that's
other one, I'm just
exactly
picking on
right.
him, but
No, I
that's
know.
what happens, because the school district has a very good reputation.
Right.
Where you wanna go, oh, let's go to West River, but when the kids get all through schools, why am I paying all these taxes? I have no more kids, they move out.
And there's no services here for
Elderly
elderly people.
So what are we still
There's no
doing here?
I
programs
have no
for
idea.
them.
I don't have kids, period, so.
Well, mine's grown and.
So that's the newest one.
Oh, what a cutie.
Cute.
And that's a little baby and it's cute, not like, some of them look
The
really
newest one,
weird.
this, he may be costing us more yet.
See,
I
yes.
don't know if they're done, you can't ask them that question.
Oh, why can't we? Court, are you done? No.
It's really,
Up to,
that's a two-person conversation.
Yeah,
we have
exactly, that's
After
what
we
yeah.
survived using this one
The
a little
answer.
further.
right. So far, you're
A new baby
saying-
just seems like a good
Maybe
idea
not.
every time, and then you get to the part where you have to raise it,
Yeah.
feed it all night long, and all this sort of stuff.
One of the things I found
Especially in the
interesting,
beginning,
when Court first told me about this, that Liz was having a geriatric pregnancy. And I said, what? She's not that old.
And so they refer to any woman over the age of 35.
Yes.
as
Yes.
a
Really?
geriatric pregnancy,
I have
yes.
a friend that had a baby recently.
But-
Over 35?
Yeah. Which is a, yeah.
I'm feeling every
I think
bit
my mom
of
had
my
me when I
40
was-
years,
I was
every
40,
minute
so
I have to do
that
this,
explains a
so
lot, right?
You still
I
have an
understand, like
open
I think
meeting.
about my grandparents, they
what?
had,
You still have an open meeting.
Oh,
You're in
jeez.
they had my Aunt Diane when they
All
were
right,
20.
motion to adjourn.
Think about how much energy you have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8:10, so you were there for 2 hours.